everybody. So this is our fourth stream playing Kishla Skimmer. We've played, I think it's also our fourth league. I think every time I've registered Nadu's nephew, Kishla Skimmer, we've only played one league. Every time so far we've 3-2'd, and it's a card I've liked. It's a 2-mana 2/2 flyer. Whenever a card leaves your graveyard during your turn, you draw a card. Ability triggers only once a turn. So it's kind of like a mini Ketramos that only costs 2 mana. It's in blue, which is really, really nice. And it also doesn't lose you life when you draw cards, but it's restricted to once a turn. So an interesting card. We've paired it with Green Sun Zenith to try to get multiple copies in play. We played it with Shardless Agent, but I wanted to try it in a little bit of a different shell. This actually kind of started off more as a discard-based rock list, but I decided to move back into counter magic for this version. But instead of relying on Relic of Progenitus to trigger Skimmer, which is it's good to go turn 1 Relic into turn 2 Skimmer, I wanted to instead lean in on Unearth, Oculus, Graveyard Trespasser, and Emperor of Bones, in addition to Psychic Frog to trigger the Skimmer. One, this is a pretty big density of enablers for the card, and I think it's kind of nice that you just have this many to where you don't you just kind of don't need to play Relic of Progenitus anymore, which is a card that I don't think is very well positioned in general. Maybe if it was better positioned, I'd feel differently, but I think putting it in the Unearth shell just makes a lot of sense because this is kind of already a tried and true strategy here. Unearth gives you not only an enabler for Skimmer, but gives you some resilience for your card advantage engine. If they kill it, you can unearth it. And also Graveyard Trespasser is a card that both triggers Skimmer and is, I think, really well positioned right now with Prowess and Boros being the two most popular decks. Trespasser is a strategy or a card that I really want to be in on. So I think the combination of these thoughts is what got me here today. Anything else? I'll say this, I know that I had Rashaka's Bargain in my version last night. I feel like I ended up feeling like I just wanted to play Trespassers and Oculuses as my 3 drops. A card like Rashaka's Bargain in the Boros Prowess metagame does not feel very good in this kind of list. You really got to be impacting the board for 3 mana. Think I have to mulligan with no black source. I've never redeemed a set. I sell them, but okay, on the draw against a cookbook deck. Don't forget the big ass redemption fee. Yeah, I mean it's like $25 to $40, or at least that's what I remember it being. But okay, they discard a cookbook end of turn to make a food. That's kind of weird. Got some Collector Ouphes on the board. In September 2024, the production of foil redemption sets will cease. The production of foil redemption sets will cease. This will end Magic Online's availability to offer the redemption of digital foil sets for physical sets. I see. So probably like a Sam combo. I'm going to see if I find Force of Negation off my scour here. No, we do find a Trespasser, though. So good chance I'm going to go Skimmer into Skimmer Unearth. This is... I don't know why they're just main phase discarding actual cards. This is not... Okay. We found the answer. Salvage Titan. Salvage Titan Birthing Ritual. Pop off, King. Pop off. Dang it. I was ready to have my mind blown. Although, I mean, next turn we'll see if they hit whatever that is they're trying to do here. Sultai Woodlands is crazy. We played it this week? Last week? It was this week. Herald of Anguish. Okay, not too scared of Herald of Anguish. Maybe I should be. We get to exile the Salvage Titan, draw 2 cards. I don't know if I'm chumping Herald of Anguish or not. Because I could just Oculus next turn and block. I'll just take 5. Found a Saga. Articuno with the gifted sub to Zathis. Thank you. So nothing new in play here. Nothing new. Cast an Oculus, draw 2. No, I didn't mean to exile the Skimmer, dang it, sorry. So now we're going to gain 1 less life off of our Graveyard Glutton this turn, I guess. And I think I want to not attack with the Skimmer so I can double block this next turn and kill this even if they give something -2/-2. Should have thought of the discard OCC in a turn bones line for lethal. I guess so. I guess the joke was on me. So we'll see if they even attack at all. They main phase make a Saga token for their birthing ritual. What 7-drop would I play instead? Traxa? I guess. I'm even maybe pretty sure that would be a better one. So what happens if we attack with everything? They can block here, here, take 6. But if they block here, here, then they take 9. And 9 is less than 8. So it seems like we have a good attack with everything. Oh, sorry. I meant to target one of my own things so I could draw 2 cards. But my opponent has just died, so don't worry about it. All right, math was for blockers. Unfortunately, opponent did not get that news. Okay, so the snares are pretty good against the birthing rituals. We have the pick your poisons for the Saga, so I don't think we need to break the ice. They're probably playing... I would guess they have Neoform in their deck, but... Let's bring in the Force of Negation. Now, they do have Gilded Goose in their deck. They're going to probably have Asmo and some Constructs. So let's leave the pushes in. I'm going to cut the Emperor of Bones. I'm going to cut... 1 each of the 3s, just to be a little bit leaner and meaner and cleaner, and then cut a Scour or an Unearth. Let's cut an Unearth. Might be okay to play Consign. Obviously, their deck is really weird, and we're not going to sideboard perfectly. Yeah, maybe Vaultborn Tyrant. I mean, just... I don't know. Herald of Anguish is a card we've played before, and... Can't believe I said that. I mean, it's true. Like, you know, back when the MH2 came out, like this shell of like make a lot of tokens, look for a big payoff. Herald of Anguish was like one of the only ones. We tried it in like some reanimator shells, and kind of awkward to draw this, but it just never really got the job done. No thought, no TS. Yeah, there are no TSs in this deck. That's true. So I think I get Watery Grave so that I could play my Sewers next turn and Unearth like an Oculus if I get really lucky. Consign to counter the Birthing Ritual trigger. I think that's not a very good plan. They blood to discard a Herald of Anguish. Then they play an Asmo. So we're going to not get our card draw engine going this turn so we can get Collector Ouphe down. Keeping Snare or Force up. Maybe Breeding Pool was better here so I could go cast Trespasser and leave a Breeding Pool to try to draw Pick Your Poison next turn. Wow, the Persist Herald of Anguish deck lives after all these years. It's kind of awesome. So they don't have another Persist in their hand. I'm going to prioritize exiling the Herald of Anguish against the Persist deck instead of drawing a card this turn. Very high chance this flips, since I think my opponent's going to make a Saga token. And if it flips, we can trade for the Construct potentially on the attack. What are your thoughts on adding Elf, Sprawl, Kiora over Rumble, Wrenn, Stock Up in the Battlecrier deck? Well, there's already Sprawl in the Battlecrier deck. And we already have one Kiora. Cutting Rumble is a non-starter, but the rest of that sounds okay. Like, Rumble is better than Stock Up, I think. Yeah, you can play. The problem with cutting Arbor Elf too is it's like you already have 4 Sprawls, and you have 4 Green Sun Zeniths. You already have 8 1-mana Accelerants if you need them, so I don't really think you want to play more than that. Have I tried Dredger's Insight with Kishla Skimmer? No, we were thinking a little bit about like an Undying Shell. Could be something there. So if I draw a land, I can go Skimmer, Oculus. I think it's better to be able to hold up Counterspell after we draw 2. Skimmer's so good. It took a while to solve it, but I mean, it's not like our other leagues went bad. But I think this is the best version we've had by a lot. The Unearth, and like just cut the relics makes so much sense to me. It just takes some time to figure this kind of stuff out sometimes. Resolves. Resolves. But yeah, it was Creeping Chill, but I no longer have my hatred for Creeping Chill. For the longest time, I just could not stand that card. All right, so very important to be able to leave up Snare. Oh, sorry about that. Important to be able to leave up Snare for a Steel Cutter. Any changes between leagues? I cut an island for a swamp because it seems like we maybe would have 5-0'd if I had the swamp. My least hero was Luris. I sure did play a lot of Luris. I had a lot of good times with Luris. Any space for as foretold outside of suspend spells? Outside of suspend spells, no. Like that's the only reason to play as foretold, in my opinion. Some people have played it in like taking turns built, which I don't think makes a lot of sense these days. So we want to fire this off since we don't need to hold up the snare anymore. And we want to deny as many surveils as we can. Happy to play the prowess matchup. See if Trespasser is, exactly how good this is in the matchup. What's your least favorite card, Shatters? Okay, so I think I counterspell this.
Would you like some tea?
That would be great. Thank you, sweetie.
You want it to be caffeinated or no?
Yeah, it's Earl Grey. All right, pretty sure I can, with drawing this Force of Negation, it's going to be safe-ish to tap out for the Trespasser here. We'll let the Surveil resolve before we force, of course. A lot of good top decks here. That one's not great. Maybe they lightning bolt me and I can play my Oculus. I'm gonna attack. Alright, play another Trespasser. No cards in their graveyard for their Channeler. I'm scared to see this show off. Part of the reason why I wanted to play the Oculus last turn. My player rewards packs. Happy May, everybody. Okay, so Lava Darts. There's a lot of damage. So I'm at 12 after the dart, and the show-off has 7 power. Okay, I'm dead if their last card is Mutagenic Growth. They did put 1 creature in the graveyard here. Wow, their last card is Mutagenic Growth. Gross. One shot. Kind of. Really thought we were going to win that game. That was kind of crazy. Okay, so sideboarding, still haven't done that yet. I want to cut these Emperor of Bones for sure. Now, Pick Your Poison is actually partially for this matchup, where it can kill Steel Cutter, can kill Delirious Channeler, can kill Slickshot Show Off. I think I just want to play 2. I think I do want the 4th Graveyard Trespasser. I think I want to trim an Oculus since they can be a little bit clunky to draw early. Thank you, Esther. 3 Force of Negation, I think, is the number I'm going to go with also. I think I'm going to keep in all the counter spells. Trim a Scour. Not going to mulligan this. I think I'm just leading on Surveil turn 1. Alright, let's top deck Unearth. Nice to be on this side of the table, huh? So they have double bolts. Double bolts hit me for 3 down to 15. So I'm going to flip the Skimmer end of turn and play Trespasser push next turn probably. They plot a show off. Guess I should have attacked first. I get in the habit of main phasing one a lot so that I can be a bit better. Though the stream can be a bit faster. I'm gonna leave this back to block the show off because I can make it to where they have to like play a spell before the show off can get through here. They do keep a card on top. So the best manifester I've ever seen. Well, in this deck at least, your manifest quality is way higher because you're playing a lot more creatures than typically these decks do. So floating 2 red, then playing Show Off, then playing Scalding Tarn. How about I feel my thirst over other options? Have they felt good in these decks? I keep changing my mind around on Shoot the Sheriff. I like it. The 1 mana is such a big deal against Prowess, and I also really, really like that it kills Flip to Johnny. Killing Flip to Johnny is like really, really hard to compare. Two flyer, very good here. Yeah, I haven't been liking Deluge so much, but it might be right to have it in on the draw, especially. Yeah, also killing Flip Tomio. think I'm going to trim a Skimmer on the draw and play the 4th Force. Just like we just need to not get Steel Cuttered. Yeah, like I haven't loved having Deluge, but I think it's important to have access to like one of these in the 75. Yeah, having to overpay for Deluge is such a pain. Hard to play Path of Peril in this deck. If they have Steel Cutter, which seems less likely because they played the Bauble, but if they have it, it's gonna feel so bad if I can't force. But thankfully they don't have it this turn. Seems like they are trying to find the land for it. Yeah, they just have Baubles and Steel Cutters. And then they bobbled themselves and they saw the top card wasn't land, which is why they played this one. So we're looking for a blue card or any blue card. It is kind of crazy to just not play Frog on this board, though. Is Skimmer that good? Skimmer is kind of that good. Or sorry, Steel Cutter. I do have some Pick Your Poisons in the deck, and it's so unlikely they have the 4th Bauble. I'm going to get basic Swamp here, since I have like all these. I might go double black 1-drop next turn. How do you decide how many of a given card you want in the 75, especially in the sideboard? That's just way too complicated a question. Sadly, I can't give you a formula. The answer is just it depends. It depends, and like I've done this for like 5 years full time, maybe 6 years full time, and you kind of get used to building decks. So I might draw Pick Your Poison, so I don't want to Surveil first. Although I could Surveil looking for... if I just find a creature, I just put that in the yard. Okay, so graveyard this. Passing back. Have I seen the Jeskai Ascendancy repeal decks with all the zeros? I have seen them, yeah. In the version of Jeskai Ascendancy I've been playing, I haven't really been in on repeal. I've been playing Iteration, Narset instead. I'm a big believer in Narset. I haven't really seen anybody else play Narset besides me still. So it's kind of why I want to play Narset in the challenge tomorrow. Okay, so I can unearth that this turn. Let's unearth that instead. Although, do I play Trespasser? Do I hold up Hardcast Force? Do I thirst the Swift Spear? I think we'll just play the Trespasser. Oh, sorry, I should have fetched for a basic island, though. No interest in looting control for challenge. We could play that. That went well too. I'm just like, kind of like how last week I wanted to play the Ugin Dice Factory deck, and maybe we would have top 8'd if I had an Emrakul for mill. But I wanted to play that because I feel like that deck was really under-respected. I want to play that. I want to play the Narset deck because I just believe in Narset so much in that archetype. Okay, so let's get a little thirsty here. If my opponent chump blocks with the monk, that's fine with me. Why push the monk over the spear? It had more power. It was more damage, but I got punished after I drew the Trespasser, I know. Okay, so let's just use our sorcery speed. Narset part of Veil. No, the new Narset, the one that draws a card for each spell you've cast this turn. It's just so good in the deck with all of the zeros. I'm gonna hardcast a Force here. I want to use the Force, and this may stop them from hitting their land drop. Violent Urge target my frog deal just to make a monk. It's nice of them. Okay, so right now I have them This is 5 plus 4. Does anybody know what 5 plus 4 equals? Anybody graduate college? All right, 6 and 1 on the day. Mingu. Thank you, Mingu. It's not opening for me, but I'll try again. So Mingu is playing the Saga build. The Saga build might be right. And is playing Repeal over Expressive Iteration, which is cool. Only 2 of each of these and 1 Savine Zerak is interesting. Cool. Stomping Ground, Delighted Halfling. Do I get Swamp? They might be a Blood Moon deck. I think it's like easy enough to get the Swamp here. It's a Jerry T list. It does look like Jerry T vibes, I agree. Could be. Where does Jerry T post? Like, I would love to keep up more with what he's got going on these days, but I feel like I just never see any of his stuff. What's my record in trophies in a row? I don't think I've had 3 in a row several times. I don't think I've ever had 4 in a row, but maybe chat knows. His Discord, okay. I don't like to lurk in Discords too much. Maybe I'll do it for Jerry T. But yeah, maybe I'll listen to the podcast. Ooh, Winter Night Store. So it's like Winter Night Omnath. I think that makes sense. Like, when discarding Flage to Winter Night has just been so good. Although I don't have the courage to grind Omnath in leagues. Mingu liked Narset enough he had a second. I feel pretty good about 3. I think Narset's so nuts, but maybe I'm overvaluating it. Maybe better to get Breeding Pool here. We're not gonna have a hard time getting our green source though. I believe 3 is the max. Yeah, if you're playing Ascendancy, which I think you should play Ascendancy in that archetype, I agree 3 is about as many as you want to play. Well, no Spell Snare available, but Rin probably not doing a lot here. Which Village Rights X effect work at Rakdos Steelcutter? I don't think you want to sack your tokens, but it is something, and boy, do you sure need something. I agree. Am I ignoring Rin in 6? Probably. Yeah, pretty flooded. I think I just got to get in there. Also, I'm not even killing Rin in 6 with the attack, of course. Surprised to see Trespasser see play a modern. Yeah, it is a little bit weird, right? But what's really funny about Trespasser is this is like one of the best cards against Boros synergy in the format. Just being able to be like, come down, exile Flage, be a 2-for-1 if they use removal on it. Okay, that's a Nambo. Shuffle your stories away. Although it's kind of good here, I guess, because it removes any creatures in the yard for me to exile. So are they playing through the Breach? Are they playing the Leyline that lets you spend 5 mana to cast a spell? Are they playing Narset? Sorry, not Narset, Nahiri. Oh, I forgot. I called Nahiri Narset. That used to be my favorite card. Okay, so I could keep this for the card draw with the Trespassers, but I think instead I'm just gonna say next turn if either of these Graveyard Gluttons hit you, you're dead. Well, they're playing Delighted Halfling, so definitely not Creativity. I've seen Zoo Winter Night. I have 2. I think Winter Night's very good. Obviously, we spent like a lot of this week playing it. All right. So we might still be in good shape if we just draw a fetch land next turn. Or if they kill a Graveyard Glutton. I guess we're not in good shape, but we'll be able to push the Omnath. Surveil land. Maybe Hardcast Solitude. That would be not ideal. I think I played this deck. They were just on Solitudes and Omnath. Well, they showed us an Emrakul the Aeon's Torn already, so not super stock build, right? Yeah, I agree. Omnath plus Winternod's pretty hot. I just don't. I hate playing Omnath decks. I just can't do it. Okay, Counterspell is a good draw here. Trying to visualize situations where having this breeding pool in play is better than holding it for Frog, and I can't figure that out. So let's just flip this and pass. How does Tarkir rank in my personal favorite sets? It is definitely my favorite standard set in a long time. I really liked Bloomburrow, and I like Bloomburrow's flavor, but I think I would put Tarkir over that. And so I liked Bloomburrow a lot. I do think I like Dragonstorm more. And so after determining that, I don't even know what's even in the conversation here. I'm Modern Horizons 2. I like Modern Horizons 2 more than I like Dragonstorm. But if we're just talking standard sets, I don't know. You mentioned yesterday you might rebuild Lotus Field deck because that's still on the table. Well, the version I had, the tech I had wasn't good, but it's not impossible that we could work on something. Okay, so if I mill a creature, I have lethal. I did mill a creature. We might as well... Oh, no, I don't have Snare plus Counterspell up. Not that that's likely to matter, but I think that matters more than drawing a card right now. They screwed up there. They could have killed my guy. Well, they could have gone Flage, escape Flage, but then I just counterspelled the Flage on the way down. So up a game. They're playing Delighted Halfling and Omnath, so the Fatal Pushes are probably good enough to keep in. They have Ridden 6 as a Spell Snare target, but not a lot beyond that. They also have Emrakul in their deck. Flage plus Ridden 6 ping. Okay, they did mess up. And so they're probably playing Through the Breach, the Hiri, or maybe the Leyline that lets you spend 5 mana to cast Emrakul. I can't really imagine they don't have... they have none of those cards. They are playing Leyline, so we want some Pick Your Poisons. 1 or 2. I think with the thought that they're playing something to cheat Emrakul into play, I'm going to play the 4th Force. I like Emperor a lot against Solitude decks. I'm going to go down, I think, to 1 Snare. Consign is probably good for Leyline Emrakul triggers. I think I'd rather lean on Force for this, but you might be right. Wait, 1 less Trespasser, 1 more Pick Your Poison. This is a bit better, too, if they're on the Leyline tech, which I don't think they probably are. I'm the only one ever that I think tried that, but it wasn't very good. But you know what? I always felt like it should... I was always surprised it played as badly as it did. Lotus Field mentioned I'm starving. I've been crying since they took Fury. Okay, so I guess I'll give you the tech. I was trying to play Breaching Dragonstorm in Lotus Field. I was trying to flicker it with Felia. I was trying to copy the ETB effects from it with Elishnorn. And, you can ramp into it a little bit with your Lotus Field stuff. And it wasn't very good. Basically, I guess the Lotus Fields were fine, but I just really did not... Sorry, I'm trying to think what the best way to do this is. So they didn't play a 2-drop for my Snare. I think I'm actually just going to cast an Emperor of Bones, kind of as bait here. Have I tried combining Lotus Field and Amulet Vigor? Oh, we've done a lot of that. Yeah, we've also done Twin with Lotus Field. Oh, one day. Yeah, I don't know. I thought Breaching Dragonstorm was just a really interesting card. I also... Okay, I have one more piece of Breaching Dragonstorm tech that I have been hiding. Is that it might be good with Estrid's Invocation, which is the 3-mana enchantment that copies another enchantment, and you can flicker it on your upkeep and copy another enchantment. Oh, they played around the snare pretty well. They do have binding up also. So anyways, I thought that was kind of a cool idea, but... Yeah, so you get to copy your Breaching Dragonstorm with your Invocation every single turn and like cast a spell from the top of your library, but I think it's just not... Just slow, like no good way to cheat this mana into play like the rest of the spells. I couldn't figure out a good plan. It would be cool to figure out something for that at some point, but at the time of making this comment, I've spent a long time on it and haven't figured anything out. I've been trying to draft a Lotus Field version with Spelunking. I think it's just too slow. Yeah, I mean, like, if you want to play Lotus Field, Titan's a good Lotus Field deck these days. Maybe pitching Snare was better. Yeah, it probably was better. So saving Fatal Push for Omnath seems pretty nice. I'm actually gonna tick the Ren down. I want to avoid an ultimate, and I don't think one damage matters as much as one loyalty. This is a good draw. I have the option of leaving the Skimmer in the yard for Unearth, but I think leaving the Revolt up for Fatal Push on Omnath is more important, so I'm gonna play to that instead. Counterspell, let's go. Although if they play Omnath, I'm probably just going to push it so I can save this for next turn. Is that you, Esther? Yeah. Okay. Didn't hear her leave, but I heard her come back. So they ping my Skimmer. Presumably going to play a second copy of W6, which we'll go and use our Snare on. Then they have a Prismatic Ending for the Frog. Okay. And they play Arid Mesa. I'm going to go ahead and Surveil instead of saving this for a Revolted Fatal Push, I guess. Sanchez the 30, kind of weird day for me, getting rid of a giant chunk of my paper collection. The game isn't what it used to be, and I need to establish a new healthy relation to it. Pretty much an addiction. Love the community and the people in person, but the monetary insanity behind is irresponsible for me in the current world we live in. I can live through the stream and get that little high the game gives me in person, plus my LGS support using proxy for EDH leaves so blah. Yeah, that stinks. I definitely know what it's like. I went through like 2014-ish, somewhere in that range. I went through a period of just having to sell legacy staples to pay rent and bills and stuff. I also I don't really buy many cards these days. I really have enjoyed my relation to the game a lot more once I just stopped buying cards unless I need them for tournaments. That's what I've been doing for a while now. I only buy cards if I need them for tournaments, and I've enjoyed that a lot more. Dude, they are playing Nahiri the Harbinger. Do I counter this? It's not very good here. You know what? For old time's sake, Nahiri, take a counterspell. And they have another Red and 6? Okay. You have to respect Nahiri with the counterspell. Okay, so let's scour ourselves. Drew a frog. Okay, you sack an enchantment. Kind of overcommitting into a sweeper maybe, but they have Birds of Paradise still in their deck, so it's like also if they have like if they top deck this exactly, then it's kind of better. Okay, I'm not gonna throw this Emperor of Bones at them this turn, but I probably would activate end of turn if they don't do anything. Should be lethal, right? Actually, oh, only 10 damage. Okay, well I don't have Revolt for Fatal Push now. I guess I could just activate Emperor maybe and then get the Revolt. It's kind of bad if they drew like a Binding though to do that. Yeah, so I guess we'll still just go activate Emperor of Bones here. And then we can attack and then like get Revolt on Fatal Push end of turn, or I could just draw a land. It's fine. Easier. So now I have lethal too, which is good. It's good to be able to reduce your opponent's life total to 0. Make sure I stack the right Emperor triggers. So this one is coming from my first Emperor that already has the counters. So I'm going to target one of my own cards to draw a card. Then I'm going to target the Omnath. And then I'm going to throw this Omnath back in their face. Push your own Skimmer is lethal. I don't know how that would be lethal in this spot. Oh, well, not against the Omnath blocker, but it would be like pushing a Skimmer and then reanimating it isn't more damage than just keeping it in play and attacking with it too. Let's keep. They brought it up right before he drew Revolt Enabling Fetch, yeah. Oh, so push my own Skimmer to get Revolt to push the Omnath, I see. It's a good line. So this should be Brood Scale. Nope. Well, Snare is pretty good against decks containing this card usually. My old friend. You got Torbon's Script? What the hell? I'm going to graveyard this, try to get closer to Oculus. I also want to go Emperor of Bones, exile the Ballista to play around Cauldron a bit better. Although I've drawn a Frog, so I'm going to play a Frog instead. Yeah, one of Saga target. Although I think you can play Lantern a lot of time instead. I would consider Witherboom Command and Sultai decks. It does seem kind of like a nice answer to Skimmer. Or sorry, I keep calling it Skimmer. Steel Cutter. I do see the vision there. Alright, so if they Saga, it'd be a 3/3 token. Yeah, I'm going to attack. If they make a construct, I will just go ahead and discard 2 cards to kill the construct, and then I can go Oculus with Snare up. Oh, maybe. Sorry, I probably should have discarded. Earlier instead. Now I think it's just a bit too telegraphed if I go discard 1, then they just crack the crypt. So let's play an Emperor of Bones. Pretty good chance we get to use both snares here. Or I should say the second and third snare. So they needle the Frog, but they don't make a second construct. This one is now 4/4. Abstergo Entertainment, cool. A lot of graveyard hate. When there hasn't been that much graveyard hate, it's interesting they're playing so much main deck. Although this is also like kind of a good just utility card. There's no way they ever play around third snare. Just impossible. Say, bruh. Oh, you got the main deck crypt. I don't know what you want from me. So I sell the Ravager for Cauldron Shenanigans since they have 2 Ballistas. Nah, this is appropriate for, yeah, 3 snares. This is pretty crazy. Snare is really, really good right now, though. Play a Forest, 2 cards in their hand. One of them is a Welding Jar. The other one is an Agatha's Soul Cauldron. I can't scour into anything super helpful. So unlucky to not have the 4th snare that isn't in my deck here. So let's see what we draw off this. I might just super duper block this. So if I super duper block this, they can kill Frog and Oculus. Or Emperor Oculus. Or Frog Emperor Manifest Token. Oh, they have the jar. Okay, never mind. Not blocking. Oh, we are blocking, but not with everything. So, will they kill my frog now, or they prioritize killing the Emperor instead? Emperor makes sense because they kind of have to. I kind of force the jar. Well, I can't activate the frog. I do need to decide if I want to basically trade Unearth for jar or for Tormod's Crypt or not. Such a weird draw. Let's cycle and Unearth. Okay, that's good. Do they think I cast Unearth? I don't really know. So they can basically hit me for so they go Cauldron this Ballista, 2 counters, level up 2 counters, kill this, hit me for 7s. Yeah, not super close to being dead to this attack. You want to look at my Salvage Birthing Titan Ritualist? Are you the one we played against earlier? I would be down to take a look, yeah. Yeah, maybe playing around Murktide or another Oculus. That makes more sense. So they'll probably kill my frog. Yeah, I was kind of hoping they'd do it in a way that they'd forget that they couldn't... oh, wait. They picked up Abstergo Entertainment. Huh. I thought that they would level up the construct instead. So this is kind of nice. Like, they just don't have... There's just not going to be any creatures probably for Cauldron. I can also unearth the frog. I think that that's probably, on average, good enough better than cycling here. Could be wrong. Could draw a skimmer and then get kind of rewarded. I know it's needled, but it's kind of good. It is kind of a disaster if I see 2 creatures off this Oculus right now, then that gives them something to Cauldron. Not 2 creatures, though. Now, this Construct's going to be pretty tough to beat, or the Saga might be tough to beat if they have Shadow Spear in their deck. And I don't draw Fatal Push. Can't really beat that. I think I'm just dead on board, right? 8 counters here. They might sack the Needle. That might do something. Okay, so they can sack 2 more, 6 counters, hit me for 12. Yeah, I'm dead. Nice. Good game. Okay, so we're gonna bring in the Consigns, the Collector Ouphes. Now, Pick Your Poison is good against Saga and Hardened Scales. Not as good against the artifacts, but I think just being good against Saga and Scales makes me want to bring them in. They've got a lot of graveyard hate, so I think I'm just going to cut all my Unearths. I think Trespasser is bad against them. The first Break the Ice is probably correct to play. And then I think I'm not... Or maybe just play 2 Thirsts, 1 Force. I don't know if I want to play... the Deluge. I don't think they like Deluge against Scales. It's probably not so bad. I might cut the Deluge if I play this deck in the challenge tomorrow. We're kind of light on enablers for Skimmer, but looks like it's fine here. Is Skimmer still good? We've literally never had a bad league. Oh, you mean post sideboard? Yeah, I don't know, maybe not. But yeah, just like this is our 6th league with Skimmer. We have 3 tutor 4-1 every time. We're 3-0 right now, although we are down a game. Skimmer's just been good. A friend of mine is offering a pretty good deal on the playset of Oculus. Do you see this card having a future in Modern for a while? Yeah, I think it's like close to a Modern staple, if not a Modern staple. It's a really powerful card. It's kind of better in Modern than basically any other format it can be. Alright, I think I'm safe enough to play a frog out here. Like, if they play Patchwork, maybe it's kind of bad. But like a 2-2 Ballista, 2-2 Ravager, Market Back Walker, these are kind of fine. I don't know if they play Market Back or not. They reveal a Glaring Fleshraker. Not a card I would have expected to be in their deck. I think they have a Needle. Maybe not. Okay. It's a good draw. Alright, so I'm going to play the Skimmer. I'm not going to Frog this turn, so that I can leave a push for the Fleshraker if they tap out for Fleshraker. Are they playing Broodscale in their deck? Like, game 1 was just like such normal scales. I'm surprised they have Temple. They probably have K Command. Popping this kind of stops me from drawing 2 cards right now. There's a Scales list that want to challenge like this. No Brute Scale. It sounds kind of familiar. If you want to link it, I'd love to take a look. If you got it. Could just go to land for an extra point of damage. I think I'll decline to do that. Okay, pretty in on the Frog Needling, huh? Push this into the Automaton trash can. So they have K Command? Will they play it after I fetch? Probably not. Getting pretty close to casting the Oculus. Could cast it this turn. Let's go ahead and go to combat. Maybe if I draw a Consign off the Frog, I'll be able to go like Pick Your Poison, Crack Fetch, play Oculus, Consign, Consign, K command, and keep Snare up. Although it feels like I'm tapping out a double counterspell kind of for no reason. They're also probably just going to K command this now. They have Veil of Summer. Well, I'm thrilled they didn't do this on their turn. When I cracked my fetch. Thank you, opponent, for the card. Is their last card another K command though? Can't really beat that. I could beat it, I guess, but it'll be very good here. Okay, now we're safe. Remember, there's a needle on the frog. Got lethal next turn, though. Interesting to run into scales this deep, too. Happy to see them this deep into the league. Okay, so do I want a second Force of Negation, seeing that they have K command? I mean, they've got Hardened Scales, Agatha's Soul Cauldron, K command, Stirrings, Ozolith. I think I'm down to trim a Skimmer and go into Force. Since we're pretty light on Skimmer enablers post board. Let's keep. And they mulligan. Okay, feeling pretty good about our spot. Obviously, this hand is great. Might wait till we draw third land to deploy the frog. Nexus with the 53 months. Thank you for their resub. They're thinking about going to 6. Well, it's good news for me. Not today. Play a different land, please. Same land. I'm going to go ahead and deploy the frog here. They have Dismember. Okay, that was the start of something kind of scary. Would I have discarded 4? I don't think so. I would have thought a little bit more about it though. Tired of playing around Pithing Noodle? They do find another land. I guess, yeah, they only missed 1 land drop. And it's a Darksteel Citadel to turn on the Opal, so that's pretty good for them. They do have that floating mana still. Kind of doubt they have a Fleshraker in their hand if they played out both zeros last turn. Wow, and they have Dismember. Let's Surveil. Pitch 4, play Oculus feels like a winning line. Letting this resolve also feels like a winning line. I think the fact that like the game is over if they somehow have second Dismember is kind of frightening. And yeah, I think just the fact that we're pretty likely to be able to go counter their next play an Oculus, maybe with another 1 mana spell up. Gotta be feeling okay here. I think you discard. If I discard left Oculus and they kept Cauldron, that was pretty scary. Did feel like a consideration though. Alright, so we'll play Skimmer since the Oculus lets Skimmer draw a card next turn. It might make them sack the Crypt, but that turns off the Opal, which is a good outcome for me too. They might pop this on their turn. Hopefully they don't find Third Saga. Third Saga could be some trouble here. So, yeah, so they may be playing this list. Looks great. They did find Third Saga, so that's kind of the best possible for them in this situation. While they do pop the Opal, and I don't think they have another land in their hand at the moment. So this turning off this Opal is definitely pretty risky, but it's working out really well for them here with me having this Oculus in hand. We're gonna upkeep stop too. Second Dismember. I hate to say it, to those who would have discarded 4, you may have lost the game if you did that. That may very well have been the difference between winning and losing this game. I don't really know how they had 2 Dismembers. Maybe they drew it a little bit later. 3 Sagas dealt with. Yeah, Break the Ice, obviously a great draw. Although if we don't get any lands or anything going, then they might be able to refill. Like if I can't use my counter spells to fill up the yard for the Oculus, could be a bit awkward. Yeah, they didn't have the Mox Opal for black. That was definitely a tell. Any good green decks? We're playing green deck right now. Just a little taste though. Y'all keeping pick. The thing is, I think they're gonna concede if I pick your poisons. If you want to look through all the decks I've been working on, Rack, I've got a website I use called moxfield.com. You can type decks in the chat and go to my Moxfield profile, and you can look at every deck I ever make. Lots of stuff for the modern format. That's basically all I do is build decks for you guys to use. So exclamation point decks in the chat. Yeah, they could have another Opal. That's true. Although the list I think only plays 3. I think we should have jammed the Oculus the turn instead of going for the value line. Well, would you agree that this worked out way better? Like, I would rather them dismember the Skimmer than the Oculus. Like, if they dismembered the Oculus there, it was a disaster. And it also made them pop the Crypt, which I think was kind of nice too, although it did strand the Oculus, but it turned off the Mox Opal. Okay, I don't have another Surveil land. If I did, I could play the Oculus, but maybe they'll play something for me to counter. I think it went way better in part because they've drawn like completely dead. Well, if they weren't drawing dead, we have a fistful of counter spells to deal with like them doing anything. In fact, it would have kind of been better if they had at some point in this game drawn something so that we could have used a counter spell and cast this Oculus like a turn or two sooner, depending on it. Maybe if they drew 2 spells. So should be over. Should be 4-0, 8-1 on the day. Playing for the trophy in a second. Really liking this list so far. They have 3rd Dismember. Thankfully, we've got a counterspell. Surely 4th Dismember isn't on its way. Okay, they don't have another artifact, so I can let that go. All right. 4-0. 8-1 today. We might have been 9-0 on the day if I had played the Swamp in our first league. Yes, you could play stock Frog Murktide, but I would, if I was going to play the Skimmer, I would play the Unearth build for sure. But yes, I allow you to play stock Froculus. How does Moxfield make money? They run ads. Senator, we run ads. I do love Moxfield so much. My favorite sponsor of all time. I've just outsourced a part of my brain to Moxfield. It's so good. Yeah. Just the Skimmer isn't as good in that build. So if you were gonna play that build, you just wouldn't play Skimmer. So you just play the stock build. Any room for a sync with the 3-color mana base? I don't think you can afford to play sync. Obviously, it would be fine, but. Okay, so we're playing against Prowess again. I think, are we 2-0 against Prowess or 1-0 against Prowess today? I want to ask you, if you loaded this game, what are the next best and worst matchup? Well, this is part of the problem with builds like this, right? Is that we're 8-1. We beat Boros once. We lost to Boros once. We're very teched for Boros, so it's hard to say. It's just one of these good situations where we're doing so much winning that it's hard to say what the bad matchup is yet. Although I would think Eldrazi is probably the one you want to see the least right now. Okay, trying to save this for a Steel Cutter. Why is Sam combo not being played this much? Seems like a fast combo, not so much graveyard hate. Well, Sam combo is just very weak to interaction. Like, weaker to interaction than Brood Scale, than Prowess, than like any in Storm even. I think it's just, it folds so hard. So obviously I'm happy they're missing land drops, but I'm not gonna let myself get got by Steel Cutter and tap out for Counterspell by slamming a Graveyard Trespasser here. Yeah, Boros is incredibly good against Sam. Prowess is very good against Sam. Those are the two most popular decks. I think Eldrazi's back on K return now for the most part, and that's a problem. Okay, I'd love to see a Lightning Bolt be played in this way. I had the opposite experience playing the deck for 3 weeks now. The opposite of it being less resilient than all of those. I don't know. That's my experience playing with and against Sam. Also, like, one thing about Sam combo too is when I've been playing against Sam combo, I'm always like, it is like literally the deck I'm the most happy to see at any given time. I think I keep this for the Improved Bones. Like, I don't think that there's another deck that I can queue into and I'm like more relieved to see than Sam combo, like at any time. It's what I'm saying. Like, that's good feedback, and like, you know, I would love for Sam combo to be viable, but I don't know. I just feel like I always love to queue into it. Odds they just YOLO a growth if you let them go to attacks. Pretty low, but I guess like we should probably have played to that. They may be kind of frustrated missing land drops, you know. Okay, I gotta counterspell this, so maybe they'll get to resolve a Steel Cutter. Sorry, Scour. That's what I meant to click on. Yeah, I had a feeling I was going to mill over Oculus. Let's go to attack first here. I want to leave the creatures in the yard for my Trespasser to chew up, so I guess I'll exile Bolt for Delirium. I guess we could unearth Oculus and keep up Force of Negation for Steel Cutter. The thing is, Steel Cutter is just not going to be very good on a board of Oculus Trespasser. I guess we could play around random Counterspell. Unearth +4 seems game over. I mean, so does Trespasser. I think I do kind of agree that holding up the Force is a little better. Because, like, we literally cannot lose this game outside of Steel Cutter resolving, I think. Like, yeah, like, just like, that's the only card that gets me, so just try not to have Steel Cutter resolve. Talking about Sam, what do you feel when you queue against Mill? It's always the ugly goose of the form I can put up once. I mean, I feel like, since as someone who does a lot of brewing, Mill tends to be kind of good against random brews with all like the surgicals and stuff. It's also just kind of a stressful deck to play against because Mill players usually are pretty slow, and then they can have these nuts that just kill you. And it's like the games are weird too. Okay, so they have a show off. Feels like Soul Trader combo has been underexplored since the Breach ban. I don't think I got much from Tarkir. Parentheses, maybe Skimmer. Skimmer would be weird. Feeling kind of good if they have Mutagenic Growth, because I could just force that and keep my Oculus alive. I also maybe have Lethal, right? This is 9 plus 5. Although I don't have Lethal if I have to hardcast Force on Mutagenic Growth, because I can't flip this up, activate it, and then activate it unless I draw a black source. Although I guess just activate this plus Trespasser would be lethal, right? Okay, so let's go flip this up. So 9 plus 2. Oh wait, that's not lethal. Okay, so we go to combat and we force a chump block, and then we just push the Trespasser after that. Show off with bones, pushes show off. Yeah, I guess I forgot about the prowess trigger. I mean, this is just a win where this is going to force the block, and then I'm going to kill the show off, and then I just don't know how this game continues from there. But maybe that was a more deterministic line. Like I don't exactly know how mutagenic growth factors into this. I mean, maybe they could have the fourth show off, and me not manifesting a frog or an Oculus could possibly get there. So maybe that was a reason for me to Emperor a show off, so I could maybe have a flying blocker. I'm gonna force that. Okay, so 4-0 up a game. So last time I boarded in 2 pick your poisons. This can kill Show Off, Delirious Channeler, or Steel Cutter. I boarded into 4th Trespasser. I cut an Oculus because having 2 in your opening hand can be kind of clogged. I cut all of the Emperor of Bones. And then I can't remember what my Force of Negation numbers were. I feel like I went 3 Force on the draw. 1 less Counterspell on the draw. Yeah, Counterspell's a lot worse on the draw. I think 2 is a good number. Maybe it's better to have 3rd Counterspell, 1 less Scour. I kind of don't want that many Scours. Maybe 4 Force is just the move on the draw. I kind of like that. Just like Frog Force Up is pretty good. And like the biggest thing about being on the draw is saying just no to Steel Cutter resolving, and you're usually pretty good. RRR, the 9 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Ouphe turning off Baubles and Moxen seem good. They're not playing Moxen. This is just Izzet Prowess. And they're playing like Lightning Bolt and Lava Dart too. Okay, not a great hand, but I think one we're going to have to keep on our mull to 6. Scour, pretty important for land count mulligans. Scour, as far as like land count, I don't think makes a lot of sense. We're playing. We're also on the draw, so like that argument would matter less anyways. But Scour is even like kind of a bad card for mulligans, right? Where if you've mulliganed and you have a cantrip with no card selection, it's kind of like having a Mishra's Bauble. You don't know if this card is going to draw you like the land or the spell you need. So I would even say just the opposite. Just fun to have like opposite opinions on this kind of stuff. But also, like, you really don't want to draw 2 Thought Scours early against Prowess. And as the great Gabriel Nassif once said, if you would mulligan a hand sometimes that has 2 copies of a card in your opening 7, you probably shouldn't have 4 copies of them in your deck post board. I think that's a really good. That's something I try to think about pretty often. All right, I think I'm gonna play the Sewers tap, so I could go next turn, pick your poison, either a show off or a Steel Cutter. Not super likely they have a Steel Cutter though, because they played 2 Baubles. Glad you're liking the stream, Lead Farmer. Good luck on farming that lead. So they have another Swifty. And they have a Lightning Bolt, so pretty good against my hand. This is going to be good enough to put me down to 10 if they don't have mutagenic growth, 6 if they do. Seems like they do, but they don't want to use it now because they have a steel cutter maybe? Say I didn't want to gab say. So if you would mulligan, if you don't want to see 2 copies of a card in your opening hand, you probably shouldn't have 4 copies of them in post board. I was watching him watch, I think, a Pro Tour coverage, and a player mulligan because they had 2 copies of a card in their opening hand. Like, it was just very much explicitly because of that. Okay, so they're not going for steel cutters. I think I'm just going to go push. Oh, sorry, I guess there wasn't a lot of reason to do this now. I guess if they have a counterspell, they don't get the surveil. And then next turn, we probably go pick your poison, the DRC, hold up Counterspell, then untap and let the Trespasser take over. What card? I don't remember what card it was. This was a while ago. But just that this is just kind of a general sideboarding tip. That, like, you know, like, I think this is a concept that a lot of us have kind of internalized, but I think that was a really good way he did of just, like, laying it out as a rule or a really good, like, clear guideline. Just, like, very, very simple, but very, very clear. Which is one of the best ways to teach people. If your advice is both simple and clear. So this has gone pretty well for us. I really like Pick Your Poison right now. They graveyard Preordain, which is... can someone tell me why you would ever do that at this point in the game? What could their hand be? I don't know. I would basically always keep a Preordain here. I'm gonna tap out. This could come back to bite me, but they only have 1 card. I'm gonna get in there. If they somehow have Blood Moon, then we could just get our basic swamp and be fine. Has to be mutagenic growth or bolt. I mean, I think any card that would be in their hand, I would keep a Preordain. They could have a bolt, that's true. Like, if you're not keeping Preordain in these kind of spots, you should not have Preordain in your deck, I think. Trespasser is such a sick card, Shaman is day 9, because I would love to play in paper. Yeah, it's not very fun, I agree. Card's quite good, though. I was definitely not a believer. I remember Disgruntled Elk was playing a lot of this card, and I was, like, so skeptical. It does have a lot of text. It's kind of hard to evaluate. It's got 1 novel over here, and then a similar... novel over on this side. When day becomes night or night becomes day, and night turns into day and day becomes night. Spell Pierce only had 1 blue mana, so maybe they don't want a second blue. I think that would be pretty close to being the case. They're thinking they want to kill you ASAP before you stabilize, probably valuing a DRC or cutter. But the thing is, they could have just preordained into either of those cards, right? They could have a bunch of blue cards. Well, they only had 1 card in their hand at the time, was the thing. So if you're debating whether to keep a 1-lander, Thought Scour is worse than Force because it could give you false hope. Is that the idea? Thought Scour is better for 1-landers. When you said for mulligans, I guess I misunderstood what you meant. But yeah, Thought Scour does help mulligans. That's true. So they play a Steel Cutter after some thought here. Maybe their other card is a Bolt. I think that would make some sense. Because they don't want to bolt the Trespasser. I feel like they would just bolt me if that was the case, though. Remember Croaky's evaluating Trespasser before it came out, thinking I think it was the first ward discarded card. Yeah, I think it is, too. He was so confident to be good, and chat was not believing. Yeah, I'll say this on that note. Like, these kind of... just 3 mana value cards are probably the type of card I have the hardest time with evaluating. Because, especially ones that are, kind of more narrow like this, or just, above or below the bar, it's really hard to figure them out for me because usually they're not that playable in Modern, and, when they're, at or below the bar of Modern, I just kind of, don't... It's so hard to, think about them or rank them if they're just not at that power level for Modern, if that makes sense. Like, there are so many 3-drops that are just below power level for Modern, and obviously some are better than others, but, like, ranking them for me is really hard because I don't think about these cards that often. Very good card to be playing right now with all the Boros around, though. Seems solid against Prowess. Okay, we'll keep this so we can go Trespasser with Counterspell up. Picked up the rest of the Severance Priest Birthing Ritual deck for Villagers. I really like that deck. I think that one is like maybe quietly the best Dragonstorm deck we've played. We just haven't been playing a lot of it. Okay, so my opponent definitely has a Lightning Bolt. I don't know why they wouldn't have just already bolted me. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're doing something else. Yeah, I've been thinking about Ferrous Rockrick a little bit. I'm really scared of casting it and then having my opponent cast a Flage, though. Yeah, Severance was really good. Me and Esther watched that earlier this year. Maybe they have Growth? Maybe. I'm gonna go use the restroom. Our opponent's taking their time. I need to pee. Okay, welcome back to me. Opponent really helping me milk my trophy match, which is super nice for them. Take your time. This is the perfect time. We've done some complaining about slow opponents this week. This is the best time to play slow. When we're 4-0 up a game and very ahead. You don't see it that often. Who's been the MVP of this build other than Frog Skimmer? Trespasser's really good. Pick Your Poison. I think Pick Your Poison's been the MVP. It's been like just so stellar against Prowess all day today. Like, I just love that this is like 1 mana, kill DRC, kill Show Off, kill Steel Cutter. We may have been 10-0 if I had played the basic Swamp. Hope my opponent's last card isn't Flicker Wisp, because Flicker Wisp was, the only card the more time you take, the more powerful it becomes. All right, anybody got any decks or anything to look at? Now's the time. I know Emperor has good synergy with Skimmer. Do you think Tamio could be better or split? Pretty easy to flip in this deck. Maybe. Tamio also has synergy with Skimmer. You could minus Tamio, which triggers it. You could play like 1-2 in either way. I do like Emperor of Bones, though. Death Shadow gets -1 for each on your clock. Dude, I would play the shit out of that card. Okay, so we've got a Jeskai Cutter build, which is like kind of a light splash. Yeah, I've been pretty stuck on this kind of Izzet or Jeskai build that's like trying to Steel Cutter Kappa Cannoneer. My builds always end up looking kind of like this, and then I'm not very happy with them. I'll say I think Expressive Iteration or Thoughtcast is almost definitely better than Preordain here, so I would play one of those instead. And I would maybe play like 4 Thoughtcast, 2 Iteration, 0 Flame of Anor for like just if you wanted to keep this specific split. But yeah, I don't know. I just am worried that these versions are just not fast enough consistently to compete against linear decks. So you're playing the Candelabra deck with Ugin. Looks fine. I think my opponent's back. I'm going to make them wait a little bit. I don't like this card in Modern. I could be wrong, right? Because like these kind of standard cards sometimes I have a hard time with, but it looks to not be playable to me. Try Winter Night Stories in this kind of shell. I think it's pretty good to like play Flage, discard Flage, play Omnath, flash it back with the extra mana, then play some stuff. Although I do see that your build's a little bit more into like the Nautilus Nadu combo, so don't have to do that, of course. Have I tried to Basim, Grixis Steel Colorless, or just efficient that just got use it? I haven't tried it yet. Basim is really good. Drawing a lot of cards is really good with Skimmer. Could work on that tonight some. Seems like my opponent is finally ready to pay attention to the match. Deck idea: Quarry, Steel, Stormchaser's Talent, Town, Transmog into Archon, or Hullbreaker Horror. Okay, probably Archon. That's kind of interesting, like just no creatures, and then you have Transmogrify. Transmogrify is not a very good card, is kind of one problem. Okay, so they Surgical my Fatal Push. Resolves. They see my Counterspell. Have you ever tried building a Lutri deck? Yeah, we played some Lutri. We played some Lutri over the years. Lutri is kind of... It is a card that slowly gets better and better as, like, card quality increases. They're just become... Y'all are right about this mutagenic growth. Okay, I mean, so they make a 2/2 that chump blocks next turn, and then I have a counterspell, so... Looks like we're going to win. Honestly, like, updated Lutri sounds like something I could work on, too. I'll go ahead and give a note to Esther. In response to my message, Neoform Young Wolf into Skimmer, which we realized does not let you draw a card, she said, "Skimmer this," was her feedback on that. Well, we might as well draw a card. Oh, I tapped wrong. I don't have Counterspell up. Okay, now I've got Counterspell up. Do I know what the notes have? It's just been like a long inside joke between me and Esther that I just text her the deck ideas. Okay, we are 9-1 on the day with Sultai midrange. Probably going to play this deck in the challenge tomorrow. I think I want to cut the Deluge from the sideboard. It doesn't feel very necessary. We also opened a foil set today. Today's been pretty good. Today's been pretty good. Phoenix with the 22 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Trophied yesterday, also with the Jeskai deck. Pay out the prediction. We were like, were we 9-1 with Jeskai? I think we were 9-2 with Jeskai, counting the off-stream matches. I guess Rackus Theater is probably worth a good amount. I just know very fancy Mox Jasper. Okay. So probably, yeah. I think I want to keep in the Emperors. Although maybe I'll think a little bit more about the first Tomio over Emperor number 3. You know what? That's probably just correct to have the first one. Like the first one is just so powerful. I think I like that.